Alright, what's happening, my friends? The darkness is going to play with your eyesight a bit. So I've already switched out my GoPro lens with a clear one, and I've switched out my helmet visor with a clear one. So since I was planning on it being dark, I went ahead and switched all my stuff over. So now I can see just fine. Currently almost 2 in the morning. At night, especially on weekends, you're going to get people who are running red lights and some street racers, people who don't necessarily care for following the rules too much. If I'm the only person out here on the road and I see somebody else acting the fool, I'm just going to let them do their thing. I'm going to go ahead and pull a U-turn. Riding with a smoke visor at night isn't the worst thing in the world. You can see, but my problem is that any of the shadows on the road become darker. Any of the little gremlins out in the road become harder to see, and they blend in a lot more. So potholes, animals, carcasses, any kind of road debris or road hazard that's going to be out there to get you, it's going to be that much harder to see them. And I'm not saying like nth degree, like just a percentage increase of how harder it is to see. I'm talking about shadows get pitch black and almost impossible to distinguish what's a shadow and what's a road surface hazard. So especially if there's no street lights. So right now I've got street lights. I've got a couple of cars here and there driving around, so I can leech off their lights a bit. Right here the speed limit is 50. I may not even go 50 depending on if I don't feel comfortable outrunning my headlights. And what that means to outrun your headlights is if your headlights only go, let's say hypothetically 30 to 40 feet in front of you, let's say 50 miles an hour, if you can't react to what's in front of you, or let's say you can't react to what's 30 to 40 feet in front of you, then you're outrunning your headlights. So right here there's no street lights, and I did that on purpose because I know this road. But right here you're going to see that I've only got vision for directly in front of me. So I'm going to turn on my brights. Turning on the high beams allows me to see a lot more of what's in front of me, and I don't feel as worried looking at this that, say, an animal is going to run out in front of me. If I get a pack of javelina run out, it's not going to be the end of my career because I can see far ahead right now. I turn the high beams off, I've only got that far to see, and if this was my only option, say there was a car coming up, or I'm in a residential neighborhood, or I'm approaching a residential neighborhood, so I would slow down my speed, turn off my high beams, and that way I'm not outrunning my headlights, if that makes sense. And broadly speaking, this is riding at night. There's not a whole lot to it. It's not a whole lot different than daytime riding, except there's no traffic. When I was first started riding, I used to use nighttime riding as a way to get my practice in, so I would find a road that has a lot, like this road for example, lots of street lights, lots of illumination, and not a whole lot of cars. So when I was first starting out, I would take off on a road like this, maybe 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and I would just practice my fundamentals with no other traffic on the road, so I'm not really bothering anybody. Now, of course, I was wearing, full gear, clear face shield. I want to be able to see what's going on. I had a buddy with me and we were talking in our Cardos, so we could both kind of communicate with each other and tell each other what's going on, our flaws, if we're doing something right or wrong. But this was a big part of my learning, was finding a road with no traffic on it, whether it's a daytime road that just doesn't get traffic, or a busy road like this, but at nighttime there's nobody out here with a lot of street lights. I can see what's going on, and then I can just go a mile down here, or do a U-turn, head a mile back that way, and I can practice things like switching lanes. Switch lane again. We're gonna come over here and we're gonna start downshifting because you know what? I'm gonna turn right at this light. So coming up here. So one of the biggest hazards I faced when it came to nighttime riding was weather conditions. So let's say it was raining while nighttime. So that can cause even bigger hazards because, like I said already, the darkness alone will make all the shadows even darker, make all of the little gremlins that much harder to see before they come get you. And when it's raining, your visor is going to be covered in water, the road's going to be covered in water, and hypothetically, if you had a smoke shield on top of that, it's going to make trying to see anything virtually impossible. So if you get caught, let's say you go and work a shift, somebody calls out, and you get stuck working 4 hours longer than you needed to. By the time you get off work, it's dark out and it's raining, and you still have a smoke shield on your visor. That's a bad time. That's a bad scenario to be a part of. So planning that as a possibility is going to help you out in the long run. So keep things like safety goggles in your backpack or your saddlebags or somewhere attached to your bike. And that way, worst case scenario, you get off work, it's dark out, it's raining, and you only have a smoke shield, then at the very least, you can have some eye protection. You can raise your smoke shield up so you can see. And now, granted, the raindrops are going to sting on your face, and it's going to be kind of annoying. But being able to see is a lot better than a couple of stinging raindrops on your face, in my opinion. So keep those in mind. Weather conditions are going to make it even worse. Prepare for that. But broadly speaking, nighttime riding is not that much different than daytime riding. Just you got to be aware of the cars around you and don't get complacent about the lack of traffic.